need to let me finish, lady.
Okay,
calm down.
You did not answer the question as to why Marjorie Taylor Greene said he broke their relationship over the Epstein Files.
Don't tell me to calm down. Dude, smoke your cigarette. Do not tell me to calm down.
Hi everyone and welcome back to the Clever Report. It's just really Peter Clever. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you'll be notified anytime I drop another video. Piers Morgan Uncensored. I love watching Piers Morgan Uncensored. Sometimes it is, they banter back and forth. Sometimes you don't even hear what they're saying. But in general, I love watching Piers Morgan Uncensored. So yesterday he hosted a debate between, the conservative side and the liberal side on issues like Epstein list, the war in Iran, the US-Israel war in Iran, and other things happening. The AI picture posted by Trump and Trump bashing the Holy Father, Pope Leo XIV. So this firstly interviewed MTG Marjorie Taylor Greene, the former congresswoman, and basically she has been consistent in what she's saying. Trump actually left MAGA, not MAGA leaving Trump, because he has gone back on all his campaign promises, and that is fact. It doesn't mean that you have Trump derangement syndrome, for you to recognize that Trump has actually betrayed his base. Everything he campaigned for, he's doing the opposite. So after the 45 or 30 minutes interview with MTG, he proceeded on having a four-man debate team consisting of the Orthodox Catholic Andrew Wilson, the Orthodox Christian the token Catholic Jack Pesobig, and a very liberal lady called Jojo and Clan Lamont Hill. So I watched the full debate, and it was entertaining, it was informative. It shows that both sides sometimes they don't like calling out the other side or even what is happening in their own party. They weren't, in general, I think they weren't intellectually honest. That is my own take on the whole interview. But I have three clips I want to react on throughout the course of this debate. I want us to play the first clip, then I'll give you my take on that.
Was Trump over there killing too many pedophiles for you? Is it upsetting that he killed the Ayatollah Khomeini who married a 15-year-old?
You want to talk about Trump and pedophiles?
Yeah,
I don't really think you want to talk about Trump and pedophiles.
I do want to get into
That's the door you want to open.
I do, yes.
You'd open that door.
You want to get into Epstein?
Trump's
you guys,
outrage about
hang on.
Did you hear Marjorie Taylor Greene? Look.
You guys are constantly saying that Trump is covering for pedophiles. He's killing them, overwhelmingly killing them.
Piers, can I just say that your interview with Marjorie Taylor Greene was excellent?
Don't all talk at once. Jojo, yeah.
Yeah, no, look, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I agreed with everything Marjorie Taylor Greene for the most part said, and that was a great interview that you had with her. And something Marjorie Taylor Greene said was that Donald Trump ended his relationship with her. He called her a traitor. He called her and screamed at her because she was not going to take her name off of the discharge petition for the Epstein Files release. And I don't know why that isn't a big red flag for you.
Andrew Wilson, I think he was just trolling at this point because he wasn't intellectually honest. I genuinely have to say that because he's talking about Trump is killing pedos and everything. But the biggest story for over 6-7 years now of there's an organized ring of pedophiles harming children on an island with Jeffrey Epstein being the spearhead or the person organizing the whole thing. And Andrew Wilson coming out to say that making the functional equivalent of Trump killing the Ayatollah, that he married the 15-year-old. This is just playing whataboutism. That he murdering the Ayatollah means that Trump is killing pedophiles. But it's clearly obvious from what MTG said that Trump even told her that he's covering for his friends. He's covering for his friends. So even you don't need to be a cult follower of Trump. If I'm in the United States, I will appear as a conservative because I'm Catholic. I don't like all this abortion and all this whole woke incident. But Andrew Wilson coming out to say that, he's not even condemning Trump for fumbling the Epstein list. It is very, very, very crazy. The liberals on this, they have actually a good point. Although Jojo was being insufferable and everything, but they have a good, very, very point that they made. Trump has fumbled on the Epstein list because 2024 Trump was basically campaigning on Epstein everywhere he goes. I'll release the Epstein list. I'll release the Epstein list. But immediately he enters there, basically he sees what is happening and sees that his friends are just there. But it's crazy. The number one country in the world, the beginning of civilization, the leader of the free world, if you are covering for pedophiles, and then what is the fate of other smaller countries? What is the fate of the modern civilization? So Andrew Wilson was just, throwing ad hominems and stuff. I really think he didn't get it on this one because DJT is obviously covering for his friends. That is so truth. That is just the whole truth. Andrew just, he was just playing whataboutism. And that is my own opinion on this. Yes, the fact that uh, Biden's administration fumbled on this thing too, but yes, that is true. You can criticize the Biden administration, but the current administration now is a Republican, and that is Trump. So you cannot just come and start saying that, just deflecting, talking about the Ayatollah. Nobody's talking about the Ayatollah. Talking about United States children or children in the Western civilization being used to serve the depravity of these elites, and that is crazy. So Andrew Wilson playing cheerleader for Trump doesn't help the case. So the second clip we are going to watch and react to is that of Piers Morgan pressing Andrew Wilson on being a Christian, an Orthodox Christian. What does he think about the whole Jesus-like AI of Trump posing himself as Jesus and every other thing? But as usual, Andrew Wilson was just cherry picking. He was just throwing cover for Trump, and that was very, very crazy. So I want us to watch the clip, and then we'll give a commentary on that.
Trump was in 2024. And now the third prong of this for you is, as a committed Christian, you can't be happy when he starts reposting memes, of himself as Jesus Christ. And he's done another one today of him with Jesus. And he's attacking the Pope and so on. But if you're a Catholic, you care about that. If you're not, you probably don't. But this stuff with Jesus Christ, you can't be happy with that, are you, Andrew?
Yeah, so there's a lot here to respond to.
Yeah.
So let's start with this. We'll start with the Christian front first. So Trump has made a million jokes which would be considered offensive. It's amazing to me that a bunch of progressives are panicking about blasphemy when they have all these gay musicals that they put in all of these newspapers, and with like Jesus Christ being played by a bald lesbian, for instance. They don't care about that. They told me on this very show, Piers, that wasn't blasphemous, that was fine, but now suddenly Christians are supposed to be morally outraged on progressives' behalf for some reason. When it comes to Marjorie Taylor
both
Greene,
ways.
but hang on. Let me respond to some of Pierce's questions.
Yeah.
When it comes to Marjorie Taylor Greene, this progressive here just got done telling me, hey, I actually agree with her. That's amazing. Yes, of course they'll agree with her when she's anti-Trump. These people have TDS. Joe's all over Twitter's always had TDS. She agrees with Marjorie Taylor Greene because it's politically expedient to do so. When it comes to the Epstein Files, they lie about this too. There's tons of redaction.
If it was Biden that was making mockery of Jesus Christ like this, so Andrew Wilson, an Orthodox Christian, is now saying that it is just a joke. Yes, we know, when he made the AI representation of himself as the Pope, and even Catholics didn't be like, okay, the Pope is human, although he's the vicar of Christ. But even Catholics in general, they weren't outraged. But coming out to have an AI representation that portraying you as Jesus Christ is blasphemy on Orthodox Easter Sunday, on the celebration of Easter in the Orthodox calendar. And Andrew Wilson, being an Orthodox Christian, should pick an offense to that. Yes, certain jokes, President Trump is known for making jokes, making outrageous statements sometimes, but that is crazy. Even the token Catholic, Jack Pesobic, could not even condemn what Trump is doing. What he was doing, he was just, deflecting, saying that President Trump makes edgy tweets and every other thing. And that is crazy. And also about the Holy Father criticizing what he said. Yes, I didn't agree with the Holy Father on his stance on the immigration, but the Holy Father was just in general saying that he wants peace. He's against war. But Jack Pesobic, being the cheerleader of Trump, that he could not even criticize Trump on the basic, principle of the Pope wants peace. The Pope doesn't want war. But Trump is just criticizing the Pope just because he's making a comment of everybody should find a way to come to the table, and dialogue should be the pathway forward, because there is enough bloodshed on both parties. And Jack Pesobic could not actually criticize that. And that is crazy, when if you are being intellectually honest, two things can be equal. Two things can be true in this case. You can criticize the Holy Father for his comment on immigration, because the United States has the right to protect its borders. But you can still condemn the Trump administration or Trump himself for actually bashing the Holy Father because he wants to pursue peace. and he doesn't want bloodshed on both parties. It is very, 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 very crazy, you know. But the third clip we're going to watch is, the typical liberal mindset. They could not condemn, the Biden administration had the Epstein list, they couldn't even release it too. And, saying that Biden was sharp as a tack is very, very crazy. So I want us to watch the third clip, especially the person that was making this argument was the lady, Jojo. And then I'll give you my commentary on that too.
So,
You reveal a single file?
Simple answer to that question. It was an ongoing investigation. That's my understanding.
They
Piers,
couldn't reveal a single file in
relitigate
4
Joe
years?
Biden's administration. Again, Piers, it was an ongoing investigation
Epstein
into Ghislaine
died
Maxwell's
6
case.
years ago, didn't he?
So I don't want to relitigate Joe Biden's administration.
Of course
I want to
not.
respond to
Of
what's
course
happening
not.
right now.
Yeah.
You're not going to let anybody talk? Were you not, did you not get held enough as a child? Now, back to the TDS. It's not TDS to call out the fact that Donald Trump has betrayed his voters. Donald Trump has repeatedly betrayed his base. He has gone back on his promises. He said no new foreign wars. He said he would release the Epstein Files, that there would be justice for the survivors. He said that he would lower prices. He said that gas prices would come down. He said he would bring back manufacturing. He said he would bring back jobs. None of those things have happened. It's not Trump derangement syndrome for Marjorie Taylor Greene, or me, for that matter, to point out the fact that he is betraying his voters and he is not serving the interests of the American people. He is not putting America first. He's entangled in foreign wars. He's much more interested in getting himself a Nobel Peace Prize or a FIFA Peace Prize or whatever it is that he's seeking. And I think that it's incumbent upon all of us to have these conversations honestly about what is happening right now. We're
Okay,
entangled
all right,
in
let me ask
we're
Jack,
7 weeks into this
If you're
war.
going to be
Okay,
honest,
hang on,
then
let
stop
me-
obfuscating away from the fact that you haven't answered to why it is that Biden didn't actually
haven't
release
answered
any
the
of
question.
this. Hang on, Joe.
We're not talking about Joe Biden. Who's the president right now? No.
You haven't answered
You
the
didn't
question,
answer the
Joe.
question as to why
Yes,
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
You can snap
You didn't
your
answer.
fingers and
Andrew,
curl,
is
boss,
your name
but
Andrew?
you need to let me finish, lady.
Okay,
Calm down.
you did not answer the question as to why Marjorie Taylor Greene said he broke their relationship over the Epstein Files. Don't tell me to calm down. Dude, smoke your cigarette. Do not tell me to calm down. Why did Marjorie Taylor Greene say he ended their relationship because she wouldn't take...
Lady,
do not tell me to calm down.
lady.
Dude, you sit there and smoke your cigarette.
But bro,
you're not answering the question about why Marjorie Taylor Greene said he screamed at her.
Chill out, lady.
Dude,
It's
you
my turn to
need
talk,
to
lady.
calm down.
Every person in the world that has an eye and that is not, engaging in these cognitive dissonance, that is not even in this cheering for your team, cheering for Democrats, cheering for Republicans, cheering for the blue team or the red team, everybody knows that President Trump was on a cognitive decline. It was so obvious. And they were putting the man through it because, in my own opinion, I saw it as elder abuse. I saw it as, no matter what you think about President Biden, he was not there, even for the last 2 to 3 years of his presidency. For the last 2 years, if I'm being charitable. So, coming out to run cover saying that he was sharp as a tack, you met him, he had a conversation with you for like 20 minutes. He's just telling us to deny our eyes. And that is where this liberal hypocrisy comes in. And that is the problem in today's international politics or in the United States. Nobody wants to criticize their own side. And to criticize your own side if they are doing something wrong. And that is where I take you serious. And credit to Mark Lamont towards the end of the interview. He was the person that actually, stood up and criticized the both sides. Yes, Biden was cognitively, declining. Yes, Biden fumbled the Epstein list. Yes, this is a war of aggression that even the MAGA base is not supporting Trump on it. And yes, the AI representation of Trump as Jesus Christ, it was in bad taste. And Christians were outraged. It's not even the argument Andrew Wilson was making about it was only liberals that were angry in the place of Christians. All these things can be equal. But the divide in the United States politics. And when people ask me, why do you cover the United States politics? Because the actions and inactions of the United States foreign policy affects us. I mean, Nigeria, but the oil price and fuel price is skyrocketing because of this war in Iran. So I have to talk about these things. It doesn't make me, cowering to the United States or anything, but it is just a fact that this war was not approved by the majority of the people in the United States. Even the MAGA base, they did not approve of it. And it's also true that the AI picture of Trump as Jesus Christ was very, very bad and it was blasphemy. And it's also true. So for you to condemn it doesn't mean you hate Trump or you have Trump derangement syndrome. It's just saying, condemning something that is factual. And that is all I'm going to say about that. So make sure you like, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you'll be notified anytime I drop another video. P.S. Please do not take my video down. I'll still link in the description it's Piers Morgan's channel, so I won't take out. I'll give him the credit that is due. I actually love watching Piers Morgan. I find it funny, informative, and entertaining. Until next time, peace.